In this video, I will give an overview of our model and class flow. First, our model. Our classes are made up of several small groups of students who have the same English level. There are usually 7 to 10 students enrolled in each group. This small group model will allow our students to feel like they are part of a community as they learn with their peers. Each group is taught by 2 volunteer teachers. At least one teacher in each group is certified to teach ESOL, is actively enrolled in a program to become certified to teach ESOL, or has experience teaching ESOL. Teaching with a partner will allow you and your students to gain a new perspective in class and will give you the opportunity to demonstrate activities or role-play dialogues for your students. I know that some of you are familiar with teaching in small groups, and others of you may be less familiar with that. So, here are some tips for teaching in small groups. First, practice modeled conversation. One advantage of a small group model is that you and your co-teacher can model a conversation that students can practice having a similar conversation with their peers. However, one challenge that you might face is that some students might be reluctant to speak, or they might speak too much. Therefore, it is very important to create space for reluctant students to speak. Building rapport with the students and taking time to connect with them on a personal level is a great way to do this. Some students may also be reluctant to speak due to the type of activity. Using a variety of activities can help reluctant students feel more comfortable to demonstrate what they know. Have students summarize what they learned using scaffolded activities. This will give them a good framework to use and will help build confidence as they are able to demonstrate their knowledge. A different challenge might be that your students might be learning at different rates. If you feel that they are learning at drastically different rates, then please notify the ESOL coordinator, and then they will see if any adjustments might need to be made. However, if adjustments are not needed, you can break your students out into smaller groups so that you can work with them at different rates, breaking them out into smaller groups of 1-on-1, 2-on-1, or whatever feels right. You can also give students opportunities for students to teach one another. This can be a great way for students to be able to practice their English and also helps build that sense of community within the group. Now, here are some frequently asked questions that we get relating to our model. First, how do we place students in their groups? During the enrollment process, each student completes a placement test that assesses their English proficiency. We then place students in groups with other students who place similarly on this test. Additionally, we take special accommodations into account, such as literacy level, learning disabilities, and other necessary accommodations when placing students into their classes. While we try to place students as accurately as possible, there is the possibility that students are moved either to or from your group during the semester. Second, what do I do if I know I can't come to class? Please email the ESOL coordinator and CC the Educational Services coordinator and contact your co-teacher as soon as you can to tell them that you will be out. Third, what do I do if my co-teacher is absent? We will encourage you to take the lead in that situation since you will be most familiar with your group and their interests. However, we will do our best to support you by providing a floater teacher who can help support you or through other means of support. Fourth, what should I do if my students don't arrive on time? Please still begin when your class time starts, even if all of your students aren't there. This way, your students who are able to attend on time can still benefit from the whole class time. Now, into your roles as a volunteer teacher. Be familiar with volunteer policies and procedures. As volunteer teachers, we do not expect you to know all the ins and outs of program procedures and our curriculum. However, we do ask that you familiarize yourself with our program policies found in the volunteer manual. Next, please meet with your partner to discuss the lesson plan. During this time, you should choose the lesson for the class, assign portions of the lesson to each teacher, and determine lesson plan flow. Next, you are expected to cover course materials outlined in your class syllabus. The Educational Services team will provide a class syllabus to you and your co-teacher. This syllabus provides the off-to-class lesson associated with each class day and lists the grammar, vocabulary, and pragmatic topics covered in the off-to-class lesson. You are welcome to supplement the off-to-class lessons with your own materials. We just ask that you cover the grammar, vocabulary, and pragmatic topics associated with that lesson, as they may be on the student's final exam. If you have any questions about the curriculum or our program procedures, please feel free to ask a staff member for more information. Assess the proficiency level of the students. Please communicate to the ESOL coordinator if you think that your students' proficiency levels might be incorrect. Finally, discuss what to write in the student tracking notes. More on this later. Many people feel very anxious when they think about working with another teacher. Therefore, we have come up with some tips to help promote collaboration between you and your co-teacher. First, respect your co-teacher. We like to use the analogy of having both of your names on the door, meaning that your contributions in your work are equally important and that the work that you do is co-created. Your co-teacher is an incredible resource. You and your co-teacher will have different strengths, and you can plan your roles and responsibilities based on these strengths or your desires to grow in different areas. No matter what you do, make sure that you clearly define your roles and responsibilities. These can change throughout the semester, though it is critical that you both know what you can expect from one another. Second, plan together. Know how you want to make on-the-spot changes, your preferred methods of communication, and how you want the class to flow. For your weekly lesson plans, make sure that you're on the same page about the activities and who will lead during each part of the lesson. As I said before in the FAQ section, make sure you tell your co-teacher and the ESOL coordinator and educational services coordinator when you know that you will be absent for a class. Third, be flexible. Inevitably, you won't be able to plan for everything, and your students might want to go into depth with some topics more than others. So, it is important that you be flexible with the plans that you make to best adapt to your students' needs and interests. Fourth, take risks to grow. One of the great advantages of having a co-teacher is that you can learn from one another and take risks to grow skills that you are less familiar or comfortable with. Fifth, communicate. Make sure that you and your co-teacher have open communication so you can ensure you're on the same page and so that you can have the best experience that you can. Finally, don't take yourself too seriously. Now, here are some questions that you can ask yourselves based on these tips. First, are we aware of each other's teaching styles and preferences? Are we aware of the strengths each of us brings to the co-teaching partnership? Do we have clearly articulated understanding of how we'll work together? Do we meet regularly to co-plan our lessons? Is our co-planning focused on meeting the needs of all the learners in our group? Do we each feel we have meaningful roles during co-taught lessons? And do we provide and accept suggestions that will enhance our co-teaching relationship and improve student learning? Now, I will review class flows. We recommend that you arrive early so you have time to plan with your co-teacher, to collaborate with other teachers, and to collect your teaching materials. At the designated class time, students will arrive and you can greet them and begin teaching. It is important to assess what the students already know so you know what areas to focus on during your lesson. You can do this as an icebreaker at the beginning of your class. Then, you will provide new materials, model the target skills, help students be able to demonstrate their learning, give students time to work on their own, and end with a closing activity to check for comprehension. After the closing activity, you can fill out student tracking notes. More on this in the next video. Please note that we will have a 10-minute coffee break in the middle of the class. At any point, you can ask for assistance from staff. I hope that you have enjoyed this overview of our model and class flow. In the next video, I will show you how you can access some key resources. Thank you!